Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Shanks Unleashed Pod. Sorry, I'm laughing at Bill's face. I am Andy Stowe. He is Eddie from Ackworth, and he is the star of our show and the Bill Shanks Show. But you
And
can't
the
strip.
weirdest looking, gayest looking cartoon I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
We had to get cartoons.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Appreciate that.
Well, so the cartoons, I love cartoons, but the sound is what's great about it. So before we get going, Eddie, do you want to tell everyone where that new theme song came from?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Andy, we need to play that for 30 seconds. That seemed like it played for less than that, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll make it play for
Yeah. Okay. Well, good. So that is my cousins, Matt Payne and Ian Payne, started a band called Fruit, F-R-U-T-E, and
that makes sense.
They allowed us to play that awesome music, Bill. They're actually very good instrumentalists.
Really good. I listened to some of their songs. It's really good.
That song was called Days of the Week off their album Meridian. And if you go to Spotify and type in F-R-U-T-E in the search bar, they are currently working on a new album and releasing songs as we speak.
Awesome.
So go follow them. And they were nice enough to let us use that to intro the show. So awesome. They'll be touring again in February. We thought we'd give them a shout out. So thank you very much, Fruit.
That's great. It's really good. Yeah, look them up. And so if you want to go follow those guys on Instagram, you just go look them up at Fruit Band, and it's really good. Like I was very pleased. They got a lot of different sounds too, so I think I thought they were really good. So
very unique for sure.
Awesome. Congratulations to them.
And the cartoon pissed me off, Bill, because in the cartoon I'm shorter than you, and that really pissed me off.
Well, it's because you need to work out more. I really think we need some meetings before we put some of these things out on.
So we made it where you were the biggest guy. You were the biggest guy, and then and you saw how me and Eddie are standing in front of you. So I'm short and Eddie's tall, but he was not happy that you were standing above.
He put you on the pedestal because you're the king of the show. So you should get proud.
That's true. But Hanna-Barbera and Charles Schultz aren't losing sleep at night while they're dead.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Well, guys, we want to thank you all for tuning in and watching us tonight. There is absolutely nothing going on in the sports world. So
we can probably how about them Flames?
Yeah, we can talk about hockey. Let's do it. We can talk about anything like that because there's absolutely nothing going on. No, guys. I guess it was Monday morning at 12:02 a.m., the Atlanta Falcons tweeted out that Arthur Smith had been fired.
Amen.
And I know we were all happy. We thought here in the South, like, okay, that is the biggest news. But Bill, just yesterday, about 5 o'clock on your show, you said, wait a minute, and you started talking about something. Nick Saban had retired.
I was wearing this watch, and I looked down, and I saw Adam Schefter say, "Oh, another big coaching move," or something like that. I meant to go look at see exactly what he said, and then I had to kind of hem-haw around until I finally looked on the Facebook page, on the Twitter page itself, and refreshed it, and then Chris Lowe's tweet came up, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" And I had to say it like 4 times in a row, like consecutively, for me to believe it, and then say that it was not a joke and it was not a burner account. And then, of course, I said the Twitter's about to blow up, and it did, and still shocked.
Yeah, I mean, his impact not only on football here in the South, here in Alabama. I mean, his impact throughout the country. Like I was looking at some of his numbers. He has a 297, 77 and 1 overall record. He's won 7 national championships, 11 SEC titles, 1 MAC championship. But at Bama alone, 206 and 29, 6 national titles, and 9 SEC championships. I mean, is he the best coach in your view? Is he the best coach of all time?
Yes, he is. I think so. I mean, because he not only won championships, he changed the conference that he was in. He made the expectation for what every team in that SEC had to strive for. It's one, we went from Spurrier, obviously in the 90s and through 2001 or 2, to then a couple of years later having Saban coming back to the conference after he had been in LSU and then Miami. But when he started to win, it's like that's the first 5 years you knew, all right, this is it. This is what Alabama has been waiting for after multiple swings at the plate and striking out. And he had that. Yes, he was a culture maker. He had that different level of expectation. He said today, basically, in his interview with Reese Davis, that he didn't want to coach anymore because his expectation for what he had to do to continue to be excellent couldn't be met because he was 72. It's kind of sad. You know, it happens to everybody. It happened to Eddie a couple years ago when he reached 70. It's like there's always some type of expectation that's set by him. I sat on my show for years and said, I want to be like Alabama. I want my program to be like Alabama. I don't give a shit about good people and what they do on their days off and how they are good on Sunday. I care about what they do on Saturday. This is about college football. And I said, look, I look at Alabama and I hear these stories about how the second string is getting better by playing the first string Monday through Friday in practice. And that's what I wanted. And how the first string is tested by 5 stars and 4 stars and big time prospects. And that competition is what built up their excellence. And I wanted that. And we've got that now. But he did that. He was the leader and showing people of how to do it. Now, it's not easily repeatable.
Yeah.
I think Nick Saban has shown Kirby Smart more than anyone how to do it and what to do. And I've joked a lot of times that Kirby, before he left Tuscaloosa to come to Athens, ran over to the Kinkos in Tuscaloosa and ran off the game plan and brought the whole thing to Athens because he did. And but you know, anything that we do for our program moving forward, at some point, it's got to be traced back to him joining that league again in 2008 when he came to Alabama.
Eddie, when you think about what he has done, you know, for not only Alabama but for Georgia, like the handprint that Nick Saban has on Georgia is huge, and it sucks, but it's great because Kirby did learn from him.
Sure, Kirby was there 9 years, Bill? Isn't that right? He learned under that tutelage, and Georgia is probably not where they are if Kirby doesn't ever play under Nick Saban. If he just goes out there and does other things and doesn't learn under his tutelage, just like Bill said. But the impact that this guy has had on college football, and this may speak to how stupid Auburn people are, and they are stupid. So Auburn has a tradition. When we win, Bill, I don't go out and destroy my property and then hope somebody else cleans it up. But when Auburn wins, they have this stupid tradition where they roll their own trees called Toomer's Corner. Corner. Yeah. And then they have to clean it up. So they destroy their own property. Well, Saban announced this, yesterday at 5:15, whatever it was, and they rolled Toomer's Corner like they had just won a football game.
Did they clean it up?
Who cares? That place is a
well, I care because it shows you they're a bunch of liberal hacks because they can't even clean up their own shit.
Well, that's a good point. That's a whole nother issue, though, Bill. But, that tells you the impact. And everybody I've talked to, Tennessee fans, South Carolina fans, Michigan fans, whoever, we're all celebrating the same thing because Nick Saban has retired. That tells you what an impact this guy has had on college football and the fact that nobody can seem to replicate what he has done. Now, if you go back and look at the runs that teams had, the Spurriers, the Nebraskas, all that kind of stuff. It was 1, maybe 2 years where they had championships and they had a run, and then things fell off. Saban has been consistent in what he has done. Number 1 recruiting class, number 2 recruiting class, number 1 finish, number 2 finish, number 3 finish. It's just been consistent over and over. And the last thing I'll say about this is the one thing that really impressed me about Nick Saban is that he adapted. Now, he bitched about things a lot. He would say, well, this is not good for the game, this fast-paced tempo. We got to slow things down. It's the safety of the players. We got to watch all that. The next year he rolls out, they're running tempo like everybody else. He
And
adapted.
how did they do that tempo? They did it better than everyone else.
That's exactly right, Andy. You took the words right out of my mouth. He would adapt to what college football has become and do it better than everybody else. And I don't know what other ancillary stuff he's dealing with. I've read some things that may not just be he's tired and old and all that. I'm not going to get into that, but maybe he's to the point where he just doesn't want to deal with all this ancillary bullshit. And I completely understand that because college football has changed radically in like 1.5 years. But I mean, I give the guy respect. I hate Alabama. I hate what they do to us, but I've never hated Nick Saban because he's just unbelievable. Best coach of all time.
I've always had the thought. I'm sorry, Andy. About
no, go ahead.
I never hated Steve Spurrier. People couldn't believe that, but I didn't. I could only respect him. Number one, he spanked our ass.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, somewhere right now, Ray is cleaning up the dribble. I mean, my God, he spanked that ass, and yeah, he was crass about it. He made fun of us, but he was excellent.
Yeah.
He was Nick Saban before Nick Saban. He was that dominant. You can't beat this sumbitch, right? And then here comes both. I mean, I hate that they beat us when they beat us, but I can't do anything but respect both of them because they're excellent. They're tremendous, and I think that's what people are going to say about Kirby Smart too.
Yeah.
So I got a question for both of you. I'll throw it to you first, Andy, and then to Bill. What happens if Nick Saban never goes to the pros and he stays at LSU? Because if he didn't go to Miami, he probably stays there, right? Does he have 6 more titles at LSU? What do you guys think about that?
I think he would have broken the record. I think he would have as many as he has now because you know how
At
LSU is.
At LSU?
At LSU. If he would have stayed the whole time, because you know how that state is. You don't the 5-star, 4-star studs, you can't pry those guys out of there. And I think he would have won. He might have won more there because I mean, there's nobody that you're going. I mean, Texas was down for most of that time. I mean, I know they won the national title, but outside of that, they were down a lot. I think he would have won at least the amount he has now. He may be at more than that. But
what do you think, Bill?
Well, I don't know if he'd have won 6. I mean, we got to remember what Alabama was before Nick Saban. I mean, they were what they are now back in the 60s and 70s, and then they fell off. Obviously, they had a little bit of a surge in 92 with the championship, and then they went back downhill. But Alabama, in a way, has always been kind of the leader of this conference because of their long-term success. And I think it's kind of like, wow, if Georgia got the right guy to be in Athens with all those resources, look what they could do. Well, they got that guy in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
And sure, I mean, I think he would have won more in LSU. I don't know if he'd have won 6 more. So, but either way, I mean, I think he's so far above everybody. I mean, he I didn't think they played particularly well in that SEC championship game. They won and they played better in Georgia. Did they blow Georgia out? Hell no. Did they certainly didn't play well in the game against Michigan. They still almost won. I think if they'd have won that game in overtime, they would have beat Washington or Texas.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, think about that narrow margin of not only for Georgia, but for Alabama of winning another national championship. But, they shouldn't have been in those games. I mean, they think back to where they were trying to bring in and brought in the 3rd string quarterback for Notre Dame back in the spring. We laughed at him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he goes and takes that team and he does what he did with them. That's incredible. It's unbelievable, and so he deserves a tremendous amount of credit. And I don't think people can fathom how hard this job's going to be.
Yeah.
And I just think, we had some people say Kalen DeBoer. I have no reason to believe Kalen DeBoer would be able to handle that job. I don't know if anybody can. I don't know I think that Lane Kiffin would be the one I would hire. I don't know if Lane can handle it, but he's freaking wacko to where he may be able to. But I mean, talking about all these names about Mike Norvell, I don't know if Mike Norvell may be able to recruit in Alabama, and he might want the job to get away from a team that he can't win with because obviously he went 13-0 and can't win with them. But man, you got to have a special cat to step into those shoes because you're going to be compared. I just think it's going to be hard. And that's why I think the opportunity for Georgia to stomp them out of the way and to take over this conference is there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's what
I saw James Franklin's name.
yeah.
James Franklin can't win. I saw that. Like, James
He's
Franklin
terrible.
can't win in the Big Ten.
No.
I'd love to have him here. Come on, bring him. Because that's a joke. I mean, and I like James Franklin. I do. I like James Franklin. I mean, he made a winner out of Vanderbilt for crying out loud. But it's like, you can't win big games at Penn State.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And by the way, if coaches are smart, Bill, I would think that they consider in the back of their mind, do I want to follow the legend? It's usually the guy after the legend, right? I mean the legend, coach, and then the next guy. Do you really? Because everything, Lane Kiffin, let's say he comes in and Georgia beats Lane Kiffin in Alabama next year. Those Alabama fans are going to be jumping off bridges. If this was Saban, we would have won this game going away. We need to get rid of Lane Kiffin. That's what's going to happen. You know it is.
But to me, when that happens, let's use the right word. When that happens, Lane can handle that.
No, that's true.
Jamie says about Dabo. Dabo Swinney couldn't handle one phone call from Tyler from Spartanburg, Jamie.
No.
Love you, Jamie. But, I mean, he couldn't handle one. You know how many thousands of Tylers from Spartanburg there are in the state of Alabama? I mean, hell, they're all over there. They got Tyler from Spartanburg in South Carolina. They got Harvey Updike, getting off work from the sand and gravel office, going to burn down and tear down the tree, poison the tree. So I don't think any of those guys. I don't think Dabo can handle it.
No,
I don't know. I think it's going to be tough.
Just to bounce off that point, Bill, and I listened to your show. This was a clip I saw on Twitter. Legend, who everybody knows on the Paul Feinbaum show. He literally came on the air today and said, "There's been 2 bad days in my life: the day my mom died and yesterday." That's what he said, and that's Alabama fans right now, Bill. They're comparing the death of their mother to Nick Saban retiring. These people are nuts.
Yeah, but we didn't know their mother.
Well, fair. I mean,
that's very true.
I'm kidding. No, look, yeah, it's a big deal though. I remember vaguely when Bear Bryant died, and of course, nothing like we didn't have nugget. But I remember the spectacle of when Bear Bryant died. It was like the name Alabama had died, And yeah, this has kind of been like a funeral almost,
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to have trouble. I may be wrong. They may pick the right coach. They may keep that standard, the expectation. But Chris is right. I mean, there's what can you do that will be acceptable, regardless of Nick Saban, just the normal Alabama wacko standard. Then you add on top, he's following Nick Saban, that will be acceptable to these people. I mean, again, they fucking lose to Texas and they're ready to freaking waterboard their coordinators.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to go after Saban, so by God, they got to go after their coordinators, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So Bear Bryant, when he was at Alabama, he went 232-46 with 6 national championships and 13 SEC championships. After Bear Bryant, from 1983 to 2006, before Saban, they had 7 coaches. You can, if you want to include Mike Price as 8, that's fine. But he never coached a game. Those teams, or those 7 coaches, went 195-96, 1 national championship, and 3 SEC titles. The Alabama fans, these new ones that, the bandwagon guys, they only know this winning under Nick Saban. There's no way you can do it again. Florida, I know they ended up getting, they got Urban, but that's after they went to Ron Zook and then they went to Shark Humper. I mean, they did all it. There's no way anybody can top this, or meet this level of expectation. So do you think that with you see Dan Lanning said he's not going, Mike Norvell tweeted something about how he's staying, but then of course now they're getting penalized, so who knows about the whole Maris Mims thing. do you think that they say, okay, we're going to go out and just hire a coordinator, go down that route because we know it doesn't, there's no way our next coach can meet this expectation. And then we can go out and maybe get the next guy. Because like Eddie was saying, you don't want to be the guy that follows the guy. You want to be the guy that follows the guy that followed the guy.
God bless him if it happens. I don't know how, take a big time assistant. I mean, take Glenn Schumann.
Yeah.
I mean, Glenn Schumann, young guy, probably going to leave Georgia for a head coaching job, but that head coaching job.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think, again, we got to remember about Bill Curry having the brick thrown through his window after a 10-win season. We gotta think about how crazy. Think about, I don't think Georgia fans will ever be the same because of what's happened in the last 8 years and the last 3 years in particular. We'll never be the same because we have that similar expectation now, where the wackiness is just turned up a little bit more because of our expectations. But those people over there, and God bless them. I mean, again, they just love their team and they love football and they want to win. But I think, who can handle that? Don't they have to ask that question? Who can handle this job? Who can handle replacing him? Who can handle the criticism? Who can handle the dumbasses calling up with Eli Gold sitting there saying, "Hey, Coach Kiffin, why'd Jace McClellan run on 3rd and 4 there right up the middle?" I mean, this is a different deal here, and I don't think there's. People may say, "Well, this is the best job in the country." This may be the worst job in the country. Like a Kalen DeBoer, I don't know how Kalen DeBoer. I don't know how. I mean, okay, go ahead. Okay, but I don't get that.
So, Bill, if you were the general or you were the AD at Alabama, who do you hire? If you can make a hire, who is it you get today?
I hire Lane Kiffin. I think he's the only one who can handle it.
Eddie?
Well, I think I would go hard after Dan Lanning. I don't, but Bill, you shake your head no, and I agree with you to a point. Here's my question to you guys. So the way things have changed and where Dan Lanning is now, I don't know if he's happy there. I would assume that he is, but is this now a lateral move with the changes in college football? We got a 12-team playoff coming in.
Yeah, he already put out a tweet saying he ain't going.
I understand that, Bill. So what? That doesn't mean shit. I mean, come on. These guys just throw up smoke all the time. But I'm just saying, for a guy like Dan Lanning or even Lane Kiffin, we'll just take Lane Kiffin where he is, okay? Why would he make that change now? He's got the NIL money rolling at Ole Miss. He's got a lot of good guys coming to Ole Miss, okay? He's in a good position. Why would he go to Alabama? 12-team playoff, Bill, that opens up a whole new world of things you can do next year, okay? And why would you want to go follow Nick Saban? That's just impossible shoes to fill.
I think they're
going to have a hard time filling this position. That's what I think.
I think the word for Kiffin of why he would take it is a 3-letter word: ego.
Yeah.
I think he's going to think, I can do it. I'll do it. Oh yeah. I mean, I think, and that's a good thing for them. I think that's why he would be the scariest one for them to hire, in my opinion, for Georgia. I mean, I want him to hire some guy who's going to be, Brian Harsin.
Yeah.
I'd love for them to have somebody that would turn out to be their Brian Harsin.
Yeah, Sweeney. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because I think it is going to be hard. I think people are going to really think about this. Lanning put out a video. He did a thing. I don't think he's coming to Alabama. I mean, 2 years of experience. I don't know. Again, this is a tough. And now Dan's been there for a year though. It's a GA, so I guess he would know to some extent how this is. But I just think this is going to be very difficult for anybody to handle. If Bob Stoops came out of retirement after all of his years at Oklahoma, he would have unbelievable experience of what he went through there. He wouldn't be prepared for what he's going to be dealing with there.
Yeah.
I mean, that state's crazy there. And this is all positive crazy. This is all passion and relentlessness and this is my fucking team and you better win or I'm going to fucking hate you tomorrow. Because that's what they do. They'll turn on those people just like that. And so I think ego will propel someone to take the job. And look, it is hard to say, oh God, I had a chance to turn down Alabama, but they had a hard time when they fired Mike Shula. Freaking Rich Rod didn't want it.
Yeah.
Remember?
He stayed away. Yeah, he went. He ended up going to Michigan, right? So that's a good question by Chris Taylor. What do you think about that, Bill? You think Nick Saban will? Because didn't they say he was going to keep an office over there
at the stadium? He'll be there for this. I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable with that, Chris, if I was the new coach, and I had him down the street. But I don't think he'll be there that often. He'll be at the stadium, not at the office. I would think Nick would stay out of the way. He just doesn't want to become irrelevant, and it doesn't matter because Kirby's going to hire him as an analyst anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
He'll be real good breaking down film for us.
Yeah, kind of like when who was Rick's old offensive line coach that came in for Kirby.
Callaway, is that right?
No, not off. No, the defensive. What was the defensive coach?
Brian Van Gorder.
Brian Van Gorder came in. As an assistant to beat somebody in a bowl game. He'll bring.
I think it was the Notre Dame game. Was that not right? Because he had coached up there.
May have been. Yeah. But no. Look, I mean that I think Saban's going to go on TV. He'll be busy with that. So he won't. I don't think he'll be that much of a deterrent. And I think he's smart enough to know he doesn't need to get in the way because he knows this is going to be tough.
You mean if Jalen Milroe breaks his leg, Nick Saban won't be wheeling him on the field in a wheelchair? You don't think so, Bill?
I think Saban's got some cojones between his legs to where he won't look like
a putz.
Well, Eddie, you must be reading show notes because that's a really good transition to where I want to look at next. So not only did the greatest college football coach of all time retire, but arguably the greatest, and according to Tom Brady, the greatest.
Wait. Andy, can I stop you real quick?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Quick. I'm sorry. We got to go around the room. Who do you want from Alabama? I know you said Caleb Downs, right? I'm going to steal your thunder. Go ahead, Andy, right?
Caleb Downs and maybe Caden Proctor. He got beat up a little bit early, but he's still 5-star Uber left tackle. So, yeah, Caleb Downs and Proctor. And look, I know everybody's going to say it, but there's a halfback over there. He looks good. Justice Haynes. Yeah. I'd like to see him in the red and black. So if I could pick three, I would go with those three.
And Kirby's on the phone talking to these guys. He keeps. I mean, he went over. The first person he hugged was Caleb Downs after they lost the SEC championship. Bill, who do you think he's going to go after?
I think he'll go after Caleb. But Saban said tonight one of the two players that was hardest for him to say goodbye to was Caleb Downs because he loves those defensive backs. So I don't know if Caleb will leave or not. JT just said that about Isaiah Bond. I think Isaiah Bond would be a great addition as another wide receiver. I don't know if Justice would have the carries. I mean, the running back room is getting crowded as it is.
That's cool.
I would have liked that Ferguson kid from Peach County who committed to FSU today.
Yeah,
he had already been up on the portal before all this happened. He would have been a good center possibility to come in and compete there. He's a big kid, like 6'4", 320. I saw him in high school here, but you got to go after Caleb Downs. But possibility of Caleb and Malachi Starks and Ellis Robinson. I mean, you know what, Eddie? That'll give you a bulldog boner.
There you go. And you could say that all day long. You can rough that up if you want. Just real quick, this is in the weeds. Jeremiah Beeman is who I would go after. 4-star DL from Birmingham, and UGA offered him. Okay, and he's sitting there waiting to go to Alabama. So there's players like that Kirby can go after. So
and he will.
Anyway, yeah. Sorry, Andy, I didn't mean to steal your thunder there.
No, that's great. That's great. I was going to ask you guys about that. No, but that's I think good well. As soon as that news come out, Kirby was on the phone with Caleb Downs. They're every coach in America is going that has a legit shot to get it. They're begging them. So, but if they can only get one of them, I say you back the truck up to Caleb Downs, and if you can, that's the guy you can get because he was arguably the best safety in the country this year, and he's a true freshman.
But that's why their selection is so important because if they don't get someone,
Kalen DeBoer, that name does not. I don't care that he's. No. That name is not going to be it.
Those guys on that team, they have to Google who the hell Kalen DeBoer is.
Exactly.
They may know, he's Washington's coach, but then they're like, well, who is he? And if they look at his resume, are they going to be blown away with his resume because he beat Oregon twice this year? I mean, go ahead. I mean, it's like, go ahead. I think that'd be great for Georgia if they do that. Because look, this is an opportunity for the Dogs from a recruiting standpoint, from a brand standpoint, from a transfer portal standpoint, and on the field
stability.
To take advantage of this and to move on top. Unfortunately, while he was there, he had our number, except for one damn game, right? Which is the sweetest damn thing you'll ever see in 7-degree weather. But now he's out of the way. We've joked about it. We've talked about it. Well, he's gone. So it's like now is the time for Georgia to take that opportunity. And Kirby, he's going to be relentless about this. He don't give a shit about feeling sorry for them or feeling sorry for Saban. He's going to take advantage of their players. He's going to out-recruit them. He's going to do everything they can. I don't care who they get. They get Dabo or they get Kiffin or they get DeBoer or they get Norvell. He's going to make Georgia look like the place to be now because who are they? Their team having to push the reset button because the best coach in the history of the sport just left. So,
and I think the pressure moves to Alabama, Bill, for that AD to make a quicker hire, and that may be bad because the longer this goes on, they have a 30-day window, which started last night. These players can transfer out. The longer this goes on, the longer Caleb's like, well, who the hell's my coach going to be? I knew my coach is going to be over in Athens, So,
yeah, and it's
a big deal.
I mean, like I said, they know Lane Kiffin. They know who he is. I don't think they're going to know who Kalen DeBoer is. That's one of those. I mean, everyone knows him, but they're going to be like, "What?" It's the same as Brian Harsin. You're like, "Oh yeah, that guy from Boise." But it's like, who is he?
Who's going to know him in these high schools?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's not recruiting guys in Alabama and Georgia.
No, and you're going to bring Kalen DeBoer and he's going to knock on the door at Buford High School. Is like who?
Yeah.
So
that's a great point. All right, Andy. Sorry about that.
No, that's great because that does let us transition over to the arguably the greatest coach in the NFL. So we got the alert this morning at 5-10 minutes after 7 that Bill Belichick and the Patriots parted ways. Now, we all know that Belichick hasn't been as good lately without Tom Brady. His record without Tom Brady is he's just 83-101 without Tom Brady. But still, he's a great head coach. And with our lovely front office who likes to meddle, is he the guy that the Falcons need to go after to come in to say, okay, I'm in charge of this thing, get out of the way, and let me run it the way we want to run it?
I think so. I just put a tweet out about Bill Belichick, and JT. I do like Mike McDonald, but I don't want. And here's why I want Bill Belichick and don't want even Mike McDonald. There are plenty of coordinators like Mike McDonald who are probably going to be very good coaches. I like Joe Brady. I still like Eric Bieniemy, although I think he's got leprosy. I think Todd Monken. I mean, there are a lot of good coordinators, but we've just been down this road too many times. And for me, the only way to me, there is a superseding element of this situation here, which is to get Arthur Blank out of the way and Rich McKay out of the way. I just saw earlier where one of the NFL reporters went off on Rich McKay today because of how obvious it is to everybody except Arthur Blank of what is just like a glaring need to get him the hell out of the way. But if Belichick can be that person, if Belichick can come in and say, hey, look, this has been done before, this collaborative effort stuff, and I understand about the picking the players, but, we've been down this same road over and over. Arthur Smith, smartest guy in the room. Oh, he came in there and he blew us away. Dan Quinn, somebody sent me a thing today. Who was it? Sent me a thing. Oh, my buddy Chris Hefner sent me a thing today about Dan Quinn, that when Arthur Blank met with Dan Quinn, he turned to Rich McKay and said, we found our Pete Carroll.
How about Jim Mora came in with all that paperwork and they were just blown away by Jim Mora's preparedness. Right.
And it hadn't worked. You know, he got up on that podium the other day and said, well, I'm 2 for 5 or whatever he said. However, he said it about 2 that go, you're 1 for 5, dude.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn's 43-42 and lost the most embarrassing game in the history of the Super Bowl. You're 1 for 5. You got one coach, Mike Smith. God bless him, 66-46. Yep. And somebody even said on Twitter, it's kind of bad when someone who's 66-46 is the epitome of the best coach in Atlanta Falcons history. That's all we got.
Yep.
Morris sucked. Petrino was a joke. Dan Quinn was a joke. Arthur Smith was a joke. You're 1 for 5. So he look, Belichick's not going to be coaching that long. He wants to break the record. He's going to be determined to try to prove that he is a better coach and not be just tied to New England. I think he will be. And therefore, that's exactly right. That's a big part of this, Alex. And Belichick would hear a better team than he's had since Brady left. They were 4-13 this year. They've had trouble, obviously, replacing Tom Brady. Haven't the Falcons had trouble replacing Matt Ryan? What's the damn difference, right?
Who drafted Tom Brady? Who was the one that made that pick for Tom Brady, Bill?
What, beg your pardon?
Who drafted Tom Brady?
Bill Belichick.
Everybody keeps forgetting that for some reason. So
that's right. That's right. But it's like
they look at Mac Jones. That's all they look at.
Yeah, that's all they look at. They brought Cam Newton in.
Yeah, whatever.
Did you not think that, did you not think that after Tom Brady left, there was going to be it's going to be a problem? Just like Matt Ryan. It's like we knew there was going to be a problem with Matt Ryan leaving. Same thing. So, and I've listened to these people on ESPN all day long, Damian Woody and Teddy Bruschi and others that are so complimentary of Bill Belichick. And look, what's my poll results? Let me go see my poll results. Will these poll results be better if he wasn't a dick in the press conferences? Should the Atlanta Falcons hire Bill Belichick? No, 59.7%. Yes, 40.3%. 295 votes. So look, and again, like what JT was saying about Mike Macdonald. I think Mike Macdonald's going to be an unbelievable head coach one day. But right now, they need to get someone who will get those damn people out of the way, or we're going to be doing the same thing over and over again in another 3 years, just like what Brandon asked from 680 the other day.
Yep.
Yes, Morris sucked.
Morris
was awful.
And so was Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn was 43.
Morris didn't suck. Morris sucked. He was terrible.
And you know what? Moore got on the radio and said, "Oh, I'd love to be the head coach at Washington."
He was terrible, Alex. Come on. Quinn was one game over 500. You going to tout that?
And anybody who came from the loins of a Saints head coach should have never been coaching the Atlanta Falcons.
Loins.
Bulldog boner. But yeah, I don't know. I won't.
Can I speak to this, Andy? Can I go?
Please.
So I'm going to say this up front. I'm still on the Jim Harbaugh thing. I think they ought to hire Jim Harbaugh. That's my hire if I had to pick it right now. But after watching the press conference and what you said, Bill, blank is 82. I'm not saying the guy's going to die in 3 years. I'm not saying that. Who knows? He may live till he's 100. I don't know. But he is of the mindset after watching that press conference that he's got a short window. And I gotta get a championship now. And Bill Belichick or somebody like that is how I'm going to get there. Okay. But the problem, Bill, is we can say all this. We want Bill Belichick. We want him to come. Does Bill Belichick want to come here? Does he want to come? Because Arthur Blank has a horrible track record. Bill Parcells, Joe Gibbs, Rex Ryan, they all shunned Atlanta. Okay. We were in the running for those coaches, and they said no. Okay. Bill Belichick could do the same damn thing. Okay. And one more thing. If he comes here, the next move is the quarterback. Okay. And we have the 8th pick in the draft. All right. And this is important. That tells me that it's going to be an established quarterback. It's not going to be Jaden Daniels. It's not going to be Caleb Williams, because he wants to win now. You can say, well, this guy's the next. We all thought Trevor Lawrence was the next generational quarterback. That has not panned out. They're going to go with an established quarterback, Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, whatever, okay, they are not going to draft a quarterback, and blank is not going to wait for 3 years for this guy to develop. It's going to be somebody who's out there on the market currently who's an NFL quarterback. And I think personally it's going to be Kirk Cousins. Okay. That's where we are.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo.
A guy on Bill Show today said Jimmy G.
Bill,
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo is not a bad idea. I don't mind that.
No,
What if you can't get what we should get him and say Jaden Daniels? What if he does fall to 8? I mean,
well, sure if he does, but I mean, the Patriots draft 3rd. So if Williams and May go 1-2, Daniels is going to go 3rd. I just can't imagine New England allowing that to, depending on who their coach is. Their coach may not like it, but I mean, yeah, Vikings say they want Cousins
yes,
back.
They do.
Somebody
yes, they
said
do.
Cousins said today that has said that he wants to come back. He's hurt. That's one thing. He's hurt. He's got to come back from the injury.
Yeah.
I don't like Russell Wilson. I think he's an egotistical prima donna, but I could see someone like Belichick wanting to bring him in.
Yeah.
Colby just says that. And, with this offense, with these skilled players, maybe Russell Wilson will do okay. Because I'm going to tell you something. Whoever's coming in here is going to say, I need some offensive linemen.
Yeah.
They're going to evaluate that center, Drew Dahlman. They're going to look at that right tackle spot that they screwed up last year with Caleb McGarry. They're going to say, we need some more linemen, and then we'll be able to score a lot more points, even if we get a quarterback who is a little shaky like Russell Wilson. I mean, so, yeah, I agree. And I compared it today to the Chris Chandler situation 25 years ago, 27 years ago.
That's a great
Dan Reeves came in. He wasn't going to go just after a young quarterback. He wanted to win pretty quickly, so he brought in a journeyman who had flipped all over the place in Chris Chandler. And look what Chris did. He was not great, but he was good enough for what Dan Reeves needed at the time that it made a difference. So I think the same situation is in play here for the Falcons now, to bring in Belichick, to give them some credibility. Just because things happen one way in New England doesn't mean they're going to happen this way. He's going to be determined to prove to Tom Brady and to Robert Kraft that he can win without him.
Yeah.
And he is coming here with a decent core. It is better. It was better than it was a year ago. I didn't like the picks, but he's got a running back. He's got tall physical receivers, especially if they use Patterson. And he's got I read the quote that he had about Kyle Pitts a couple of years ago. He had a man crush on Kyle Pitts. He loved Kyle Pitts. Well, maybe somebody will finally know how the hell to use Kyle Pitts, and he'll be successful. So you just put all these things together, and I think that's why it makes sense for me.
But it's all set up now, Bill, for the short term. And that's what I think Blank is looking at. It's short term. We got to win within the next 3 years. And that's why I don't think he drafts a Michael Penix and they let him develop. I'm just saying that name. You can crap on it all you want, but he's not going to do that. Develop a quarterback, and in 3 years we win the Super Bowl. He wants a coach now who can win the Super Bowl.
Right.
He wants a quarterback now who can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, in his mind, it's a 3-year window.
And he said the other day that they're doing this to try to win in 2024.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not just to go 9-8 and slide in as a wild card.
And I'll say that's not crazy, because
that's a good thing.
Let me ask you guys this. This is a question I thought about today. I'll start with you, Andy. If Bill Belichick is the coach in 2023, everything's the same. What's our record this year?
10-7. Bill?
I asked this on Twitter today. Same thing. I think 11-6.
There you go. That answers the question.
You got to think of those close games.
Yeah.
Yes.
That were not coached well, that might have been coached better by a better head coach.
That's right.
So what would he have been, the 3rd seed in the NFC with an 11-6 record, or even that would have been we would have won the division by far.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'd run away with it.
Right. So I mean, I think that is a fair question. When I asked that on Twitter today, by the way, nobody wanted to answer it.
Why?
I don't know. There's a couple of people said, well, it were close games, and I mean, they still would have had the same quarterback and all that stuff. I mean, even if they would have been, let's say they would have been, instead of just 10-7, like what Andy said, that's what we expected them to be.
That's right.
So if that could be the catalyst to have a team go from 7-10 to 10-7, then if you get a coach that's making that big of a difference, it's worthwhile.
Yeah.
Over the cap has the Falcons with $32 million in cap space with a few easy post-June 1st cuts. They're sitting at $40 million, a quick quarterback and right tackle addition, and this team is kicking with. Yeah. I mean, I think they, if the Landman kid can come back at linebacker and
he's
Caden
good. I like
Ellis,
him. Yeah.
yeah, Landman came out of nowhere right and was pretty good. I mean, I would like another cornerback because I think that needs to.
Yeah.
And
AJ Terrell's good, but
yeah, and Richie Grant needs to go away. I mean, they need a little bit of help in the secondary. That's a lot of money. And yeah, I mean, I don't think Campbell's coming back. I don't think Bud Dupree's coming back. I don't know if Lorenzo's coming back. They got
Calais
some
Campbell,
people.
Yeah, I don't think Calais Campbell. Well, is he on a 2-year deal or 1-year?
I think
deal?
one, but I mean, I think they can shed some more of that. They can help them out a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have some cap room for the second year in a row to play around with, so it's like, because I wondered about, well, maybe Belichick won't want to come to this team. Let's see, I disagree with that. The same record. There's no way those close games.
The Falcons would have won those close games.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would have been.
He utilizes those offensive weapons that we have. That's what Belichick does. Right. Totally disagree with you, Alex.
You can't tell me that offense would have been a little bit better. I know the quarterback situation was a dumpster fire, but man, if Arthur Smith was such a freaking innovator with the offense, why wouldn't he have found some ways to score more than 18.5 points per game? My God, and so no, I don't agree with that. I think they would have been better with a better coach, and therefore that means the team you have, the roster that a new coach will inherit, is really better than a 7-10 team. And I think that's why Arthur Blank made the move in the first place. Take this core that we thought was going to be 10-7, add to it with a good draft and some good free agent acquisitions, and take it to a 10 or 11 or 12 win team. You can't expect how many new coaches in year one win a Super Bowl, but you could get it prepared to win in 2025, perhaps,
John Radford said, so y'all think a free agent quarterback, not a draft pick? Well, I could see it being both. Maybe. Yeah, I think both is kind of where they're going to go.
Well, it's funny he brings that up because I looked today and Kirk Cousins is a free agent, so he wouldn't cost you any draft picks, right? I mean, he's a free agent. I mean, I don't know how that. Yeah, he is a free agent.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
He's a free agent. So you could bring in Kirk Cousins and still keep that 8th round draft or that number 8 pick, right? And not to trade that away or any other of the picks. So here's what I would do. Take Kirk Cousins, all right? Number 8, Dallas Turner. The 44th pick, Cedric Van Pran. And then y'all are going to probably yell at me. That 3rd pick, take Michael Penix and let him develop behind Kirk Cousins. I love that.
I'm okay with that. If you can get him in the 3rd round, yeah. And I mean, I think he might have gotten a little exposed in the national championship game. But
3rd round, we took Desmond Ridder in the 3rd round.
If we could get Michael Penix in the 3rd round, I'd be happy with that. This is Bill O'Brien will have more tools to work with offensively, but a quarterback situation is the same. Sounds like you think highly of Bill O'Brien as an OC.
I do, because he's better than Arthur Smith. I mean, I mean, Dave Ragone. I do. I think whether it was Josh McDaniels or Bill O'Brien, they would have been better than what the Falcons had.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that it would probably if Bill Belichick comes in, I think they would probably bring in Josh McDaniels. That's the OC. That's
how many teams in the NFL have Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, Drake London, and Kyle Pitts? That's 5 really good skill players. Cincinnati, maybe, right? With Mixon and all the – they didn't even make the playoffs. They need Brock Bowers. I don't know about their tight end situation. But, I mean, there's not many teams that have that. And you still could only muster 18.4 points per game or whatever. Yeah. So, I just think that Michael Lombardi, who may be – it's kind of funny Michael Lombardi's tweeting about this because he may be one of the guys. D. Orlando just reposted a tweet from Michael Lombardi. The Atlanta Falcons won't have GM Terry Fontenot lead the head coaching search. That tells me Fontenot's gone and Arthur Blank is big game hunting. If something happens in New England, he's coming, and he's coming heavy. And
Okay.
Michael Lombardi, along with former Falcons executive Scott Pioli, have been named as two guys who might be brought with Bill Belichick to Atlanta to be the GM. So,
Wow.
and
You're okay with that. Yeah.
yeah, I love Pioli. I think
Yeah,
Pioli's
Pioli's
great.
great. Yeah.
And and Rick Flatford told me that if Belichick comes, Fontenot's leaving.
Yeah.
I
He's
mean,
leaving or he's can.
I bet he just leaves. You saw he wasn't even up there when they were doing the press.
I
That is
know. I mean,
that tells you all you need to know. That's
Awful.
Yeah, I hate it for him because he didn't get a fair shake. I don't know if he's good or not. He may be great, he may be bad. Who
We
knows?
don't know.
And that's kind of still where I feel like I don't think Desmond Ritter is very good, but he got a terrible shake at it. He didn't get to play. They let Marcus Mariota play. That was terrible. And then this year, I mean, he did not. He got the short end of the straw with it because pitiful coaching, mismanaged everything. So I don't know what Ritter is. I still don't know what Ritter is.
Me neither. And you know what? Like I said today on the show, Andy, Belichick or someone else may come in here and say, "Hey,
We kind of like him.
I want to work with Desmond Ritter. I want to see what we can do with Desmond Ritter. Let's bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's keep Desmond Ritter and see what happens." Let's go back to that thing about what Alex said about all I'm saying is Bill couldn't make chicken salad out of chicken shit in New England this year. But Alex wasn't, again, those core players outside of the quarterback spot better in Atlanta than they were in New England?
Yeah.
I mean, unless I'm missing something, that Wes Welker had a second career change and came back. I mean, I think Atlanta's skill players around the quarterback spot were still better than what New England would have had. New England have had Zeke Elliott. They had Zeke Elliott and the Stevenson kid from Oklahoma. They both had 600-something yards. They didn't have receiver. Demario Douglas is not Drake London. Their tight end was Hunter Henry from Arkansas. He's an okay player. I think Pitts is better. Yeah, Pioli worked under Dimitrov. I like Pioli. I think Pioli's smart.
Yeah, he's good.
He's really good. Could Belichick get the GM head coaching job? Would he want that? Would a dual role work? And Andy, I wonder about that because Belichick is obviously going to have a big say if he comes, but we've already heard that he may bring, Pioli or Michael Lombardi, who tweeted this out, to come with him as the GM. I mean, so is he going to have the final say? I don't know if he will or not, but because I think those guys would do all that work. He's going to cut, but wouldn't an older Bill Belichick, and again, something to prove? He's got something to prove. He knows these people are questioning him without Tom Brady.
Right.
Well, think about this for just 1 second. NFL is this close on every game, okay? Every game comes down to the wire for the most part. Who would you rather trust down the stretch when a game is that close? Arthur Smith or Bill Belichick? And I'm putting all the player choices aside, the GM coaches, the GM stuff aside. Bill Belichick, I'll take him all day long over Arthur Smith, period.
All day long.
Right?
I think everyone would. If you say you would,
exactly.
You might need to live in a paddock.
He knows how to coach a football game. That's the difference.
I know Tom Brady was unbelievable. I love Tom Brady. I mean, I don't dislike Tom Brady at all. But you can't tell me that it was all Tom Brady.
No.
Just because Tom Brady left and then went 1-1 in Tampa Bay, you still have to appreciate how Bill Belichick, he won but it's not like he won 6 Super Bowls in 10 years or 9 years. It was like over 18-year span he won all those Super Bowls. That means even with the quarterback being the same, he had different incarnations of teams that he had to put together to become a Super Bowl team. Even when they went through that dry spot there for a while, they bounced back and recreated their roster to become a Super Bowl champion again. Well, who did that?
Who managed all the play calls when they were down by 25 points with 3 minutes left in the third quarter in the Super Bowl? Who managed all that?
Thanks, Eddie.
Yeah, well, facts.
Yeah. The Doc Father says he wouldn't trust Arthur Smith to deliver his
How ironic would it be if we went through 28-3, which is just the biggest kick in the
I know. I've thought about this.
Okay. And then Bill Belichick comes here and wins a Super Bowl for the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, what? You can't even write that. I mean, Bill, you can't. You're a writer. You can't even write that, right?
Yeah, that's right. No, it'd
Yeah,
be
I've
unbelievable.
thought about that. Yeah, I thought about that a lot. But yeah, Dogfather, I did see someone either on Twitter or I heard it or something. They said Arthur Smith is just like FedEx. They don't deliver on Sunday.
Trust him to deliver my FedEx day.
But you know
And
what?
He owns FedEx.
Here's another thing, though. They were saying on TV today on NFL Network and ESPN that they thought that Bill Belichick would not go to an AFC team out of respect for the Patriots. There are 3 teams, the NFC, with head coaching jobs: Panthers, Commanders, and the Falcons. Commanders came out, it was reported today that the Commanders are not going to want Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, as much as we think the Falcons are a clusterfuck, the Panthers are worse. There ain't no way I think Bill Belichick's going to even go there to work with David Tepper and even with Bryce Young being there. So, I mean, I think if in fact the Falcons and blank do want him, D. Orlando Ledbetter, I can't wait to have him on the show tomorrow. D. Orlando reported this is their guy. I think they're going to get him.
I hope so. I like it.
Yeah, I think he's who we need right now. And I mean, maybe it's a short-term fix, but hey, if you can get 2, 3 good 4 years,
short-term fix in the Super Bowl, would you take that?
Oh, dude, without question, question. So,
yeah.
Well, guys, we got a few minutes left. I do want to touch on UGA. So obviously, we know that last week the national championship game that happened when Michigan won the whole thing, and then Georgia ended up in the AP poll. Georgia, that was it, 5th overall or 4th in the AP poll. Did that game, watching Michigan and Washington play, did that game change how you feel about Georgia being 1 or 2, or do you still think they're the best team in the country this year and think they should have been playing in that national championship game?
Go ahead, Bill.
I still think I think they would have beat Washington easily, and I think the Georgia-Michigan game would have been really good. Yeah. I think Georgia's a better team, and I think that would have been the best matchup of all on Monday night would have been Georgia and Michigan. And so, yeah, I mean, it was hard to watch. It was I was shocked at how, compared to Michigan, Washington just looked ordinary, even from the size perspective on their lines of scrimmage. It's like, dude, I thought y'all were bigger against Oregon, and now y'all look like y'all were in the JV team against Michigan here. So that really surprised me, but I think Georgia had a great team this year that lost one freaking game by 3 points, and that sucks. And you know what? Hopefully that never happens again where that costs you the season. It shouldn't moving forward. Yeah. You know, and because that's another thing about Saban retiring, man. Going to this 12-team playoff, Georgia's going to be okay. Georgia loses to somebody in the SEC championship game, and they have to host a game in round 1. Yeah. Bring them on.
That'd be great. Friday night in Athens or something. That's
oh my God.
Yeah.
It'd be unbelievable.
It'd be great. I'd love to have Ohio State down here for a Friday night game or a Saturday. Down in the. It'd be great. Another team in Georgia that's playing really good is the basketball team. They just beat Arkansas last night, 76-66, and they're 12-3 on the season. And now they're 2-0 in the SEC. They have Tennessee's coming to Athens Saturday at 12 o'clock.
No, it's in
Tennessee's.
It's in Knoxville.
I'm sorry. I'm going to Knoxville. So but it's 11-4. Tennessee's 11-4, and they're 1-1 on the season. If Georgia were to go up there and win that game, I mean, is this a legit tournament team? And do they have a shot to actually make a run at this thing? I'm not saying a national championship, but I'm saying to get in this tournament and maybe kiss the SEC championship.
Well, here's the thing. Vern Fleming is very good at the point, and Terry Fair is looking really good on the wing. And I think, if they could just get some stuff down low. I mean, since losing Dominique, it's been a struggle, but look what Fair and Fleming have done to kind of put it together like that. So, I think they got a really good chance of. I could have sworn I saw the game was in Knoxville. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I think it's in Athens, but then I was like, okay, I was going to go with it. I think it's in Athens. I think it's in Athens at 12 o'clock.
Okay, well, I apologize. I thought I read where it was in Knoxville, so you may be right. The
game's in Stegman Coliseum.
Okay, there you go.
12 o'clock.
I'll be damned. Okay, it is. Yeah, my mistake. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him.
Right? I'm really happy because They played Arkansas. Arkansas is not a good basketball team. Look at me. I still want to say football. Not a good basketball team. Sharif Abdur-Rahim is our best scorer. He had 5 points.
Jabri. I
Sharif.
did know that.
What I say?
You said Sharif. It was Jabri.
Sharif's his dad. Jabir. Okay. Abdur-Rahim. He had 5 points. He's our best scorer. Okay. And you win that game by 10 points. That's a big deal. Okay. And I'm really impressed with Mike White. Mike White is a great basketball coach. He just knows what's going on. And I also love the way the fans showed up and the crowd showed up and the students showed up for a 9:00 basketball game. It was fantastic. It came through the TV. We haven't seen that in Georgia basketball in forever. And we're a bubble team right now. A bubble team. I looked the other day, we got a tweet that said Georgia's the first team out. Great. We're being talked about. Jay Billis may mention us on a broadcast. That's fantastic. Georgia basketball. I love it.
Yeah, this is as good as it's been. And there's, I mean, how many? I think there were 3,000 students there last night.
Yep.
And that's a 9:00 game. That's impressive. So
that's impressive.
Yeah, and you know what? It's the sad thing is, it's been so long since we've had relevancy with this program that so many people don't either remember it or weren't alive, or it just was like you blinked your eyes and it was over. You know, when I was coming up though, and Hugh Durham, who I love Coach Durham. I mean, they were relevant every year. They weren't great every year, but they were relevant every year. He made them that way, and they were at least. I mean, my God, when I was in school, I don't know about you, Eddie, but me and my roommate, like we were at every freaking
I was
game.
on the dog pound, Bill. I was at
Oh
the dog
God,
pound.
yeah.
Great.
I mean, it's like we stood in line for tickets.
Yeah.
Like when Shaq came with LSU, it was like, holy crap, you know. And it was a big deal. I don't know how it is up there in Athens, the students now, but it's like Georgia basketball was so fun. Yeah, Andy went during the Herrick days, you know. It was unbelievable. You know, we'd sit up there in the student section in the upper deck, and we would be able to see if we could understand the cuss words that Hugh Durham was saying from down on the court, you know, because he was so colorful. And I love Coach Durham, but you know, we haven't had that. I mean, I did a college basketball recruiting show on WUOG when I was in school there. Oh, Charles Claxton's coming in. I wrote a story about Charles Claxton, the red and black. We did college basketball recruiting like that, and people were listening to us, you know. But now it's just different, and so I'm rooting for him, man. I just think it'd be great. What if we had that to look forward to in March? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be fun?
that'd be great. Yeah,
unbelievable.
I would at least pick them in my bracket to win the first round. I don't care who they play. I would mess my bracket up just to do it. So.
Yep.
Well, guys, we're getting close to be up on the stage, but I do want to touch on the Braves for a minute because there was some pretty big news coming out today. The Braves agreed to arbitration with
Andy,
Max
cut
Fried.
Cut me off for a second, Andy. I'm sorry.
Okay. They I guess he said he's finished.
Yeah,
But they did agree.
in 200.
That's right. But they did agree to arbitration, or they agreed to a contract to avoid arbitration with Max Fried today and AJ Minter. Max Fried is getting $15 million and Minter is getting 6.22. Do you think that is a good sign, or is that anything other than we just agreed to it? Do you think you don't think it has anything to do with them potentially getting a deal?
No, I think it's just. I mean, they had to avoid arbitration with him, so they did that by agreeing to a $15 million contract. Same with AJ Minter, 6 point something. So I think that's just procedural to get their salaries done and avoid arbitration. They didn't need to go to arbitration with good to avoid a hearing. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you don't want to go to a hearing. I think they've been to a hearing before with Max, haven't they, Andy?
Twice. 2 years ago the Braves won it, I think, and then last year Max won it, or maybe it was the opposite way. But they've done it twice. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's good to avoid that. I mean, I don't know what their situation is with Max. I mean, you can't really worry about that. Bill Werdesbauer was in the building earlier this week. Can you confirm? Well, I mean, look, I just don't think they're going to do it. I would love it, and yes. I mean, he's a creep. He's he ain't got all of his irons in that golf bag. But he can pitch.
Yes.
And I just can't imagine somebody not giving him a shot. I mean, I just think he's got unbelievable talent. I went and saw Trevor Bauer. I heard about Trevor Bauer. I read about him, a story that he had very unusual preparations for a game. And he did like long toss before a game. And I went and watched him at Turner Field when he was with Arizona. And man, it was like, wow, this kid's kind of different. And he had different warm out up. He would sling his arm around at a fast rate, like it was going, like he was a windmill before it was really weird. But he's got a reputation even before all that legal stuff came out.
Yeah.
And so, and I understand the concern, but man alive, Copy would have signed him. I wish Alex would, because I would love it. And I think, yeah, I mean, Mookie did say he likes Bauer. And so I certainly would, because and if Azuna's a shot, they could give Bauer a shot, but Bauer's got he's a different bird now. And maybe are afraid of putting him in that mix, but you know what? If he's humble enough after what's happened to him, I don't think a Chris Sale or an AJ Minter or some of or Tyler Matzik, is going to allow some of that stuff. And I think they would kind of keep him in control. But man, I want one more pitcher. I'm kind of getting greedy. I would love for that price on Dylan Cease to go down and Alex to kind of ring him up, say, okay, we ain't gonna give you both Hurston Waldrop and AJ Smith-Shawver, but we'll give you one of them. Plus. Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry about that, guys. I had a dog issue I had to take care of, but the Trevor Bauer interview the other day, he sounded really desperate to me. It almost sounded like, someone please sign me. I mean, he didn't
just want to prove something. Yeah.
I mean, it didn't sound good. And I'll put it out there right now. I don't think anybody's going to sign this guy. I just think there's too much stuff floating around. I don't know. It just didn't sound good. What I heard, Bill, didn't sound good.
Well, he's got a bad reputation. I mean, I heard about his reputation.
He sounded desperate.
Yeah.
He sounded desperate.
Well, I mean, but here's the thing. You want to talk about somebody with something to prove?
Yes.
Well, 100%.
Oh my gosh, right? I mean, can you imagine what he's going to have, that fuck you attitude of I'll show you, and he can do that because he's got the talent to do that. So, look, I just, them getting Chris Sale for free would entice me to say, okay, I got Chris Sale, and there's really not much of, so can I do something else? Can I get one more pitcher? And, that thing that we heard earlier in the week from Jesse Sanchez about, well, the Braves were really talking, after Mark Bowman downplayed it, which was bullcrap, that they were not really talking to the White Sox on Cease, which was just not true. The guy in Chicago comes out and says, well, yeah, the Braves had an offer on the table, but they decided to go down the road for Chris Sale. But if that price for Cease comes down before spring training, you got to look into it, don't you?
You'd have to. And I mean, because you got to think that that price will start dropping, because if they're not going to just, I mean, I know he's got 2 years left, but they're not going to let him walk and not get anything. So
what does that mean? What does that mean real quick, Bill? Does that mean
that again?
What does that mean? The price comes down. What does that mean to get Dylan Cease? Does that mean we just give up Hurston Waldrop and we get him, or does that mean we give up? Because we talked about Hurston Waldrop, AJ Smith-Shawver, and Vaughn Grissom at one point to get Dylan Cease. So you said the price comes down. If you give up one of those two pitchers, are you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted,
you think it comes down that much?
If they wanted both of those top two pitching prospects, and then they'll take one by early February instead of two, and I'll trade.
That's my question. You think it comes down that far?
No, I mean, if they're either going to go into the season with him and the price is going to be even more discounted if they trade him during the season, or do they want to get? I mean, I would want to get my young pitchers I would get back in return for him.
Yeah.
Right.
To go ahead and be in my rotation, or either at AAA or AA for the whole season, So, and they're rebuilding. So, and hell, they've already got half of our freaking farm system with that Aaron Bummer trade. So
Mike
it's like,
Soroka.
I would want to go ahead and do it. So yeah, if that price comes down, because they obviously can't trade him yet. That ought to tell them their price is too high.
Yeah.
100%. And so Andy says he's hearing Getz keep cease until the trade deadline. Well, and here's the deal about that. Let's say he does. And let's say that there's other pitchers in the Braves farm system that may develop into legit prospects. Yeah. Well, they may be able to get him then.
Yeah.
He's only making $8 million this year. You get him August 1st. Fuck, you're only going to pay him what, $2.5 million?
Yeah.
That'd be okay going into the playoffs, huh?
Yeah. I mean, so it's like, okay, and I think they would be okay going into, and Andy's going to laugh at this. I still think Jacob Junis would be a good pickup. I still think, go look at the video of him from San Francisco last year. He's kind of like what Reynaldo Lopez is. He started in the past and he became a reliever. He had 86 innings in 40 games last year, only 4 starts, I believe. And he throws hard. He just seems like an Alex type signing. And I would love that kind of guy, even if it's a tweener, a bridge kind of guy. Okay, that's okay. And then you can see how you use him and figure it out. Because man, I won't, especially after the sell trade, I want Reynaldo Lopez in that bullpen. That bullpen, you can't tell me if that bullpen's healthy, it's not the best in the game. With Iglesias and Lopez and Minter and Bummer, Matzik back, Jimenez and Pierce Johnson. That's a pretty damn good bullpen right there.
So a bunch of hard throwers. Yeah,
one last question here. And this is silly because they're going to make some moves at the deadline. I know that. They make no more moves, Bill. Are you happy that this team can make the playoffs and get to the NLCS and beat the Dodgers as currently constructed?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if healthy, if they don't have
I know. I'm saying healthy. Health is
I mean, given. If there's no bullshit that happens was happening the last 2 years.
And there will be, but there will be to the Dodgers. There will be to everybody. Right.
We know that. I don't know why it shouldn't be. I mean, Andy asked me the other day, okay, if Iglesias goes down, who's your closer? Well, I mean, maybe Lopez, and again, there's always a possibility of Alex getting more people during the season if need be. That's the one good thing about not doing a trade right now is that you do allow your farm system to back up a little bit and get deeper by letting some of those guys develop. And there's a lot of pitchers drafted last year and the year before that really need to take a step forward this year. And they should be able to do that. And that could mean you'd have more trade pieces to put in front of teams for those kind of trades before the deadline. So, yeah, I mean, I think you got strength at catcher. Your infield's good. You're not going to get the same thing from Orlando Arcia. But, my God, you got an all-star at the other 3 positions. You've got, 3 outfielders that are going to play great defense, run well, and 2 lefty hitters, and then one of the best players, if not the best player in the game in right field. So I think 1 through 26, it's a really good roster. I love the roster.
All right.
And I think Kelnick's going to be really good too, because he doesn't have to be the guy. So I think that's going to help him out a lot.
Yeah. One more and we're done. Okay. Who's your MVP this year, Bill? And Acuna is the easy answer. Who's the Braves MVP this year?
The Braves MVP. Okay.
Yep.
Go ahead, Bill.
Austin Riley.
Andy, you want to answer? I know I put you on the spot.
No, I'm going to have to piggyback off Bill. Austin Riley. I think he takes the next step. I think he takes the next step this year of being that guy.
Chris Sale.
Oh, I think Chris Sale's going to have a great year.
I
think he's going to have a great.
I love the guy. If he's healthy, he's an absolute warrior.
I listened to Eddie. I listened to a interview he did with AJ Przinsky, who's a dick, the other day, and he was.
Did he give you a boner, or was he just a dick?
He didn't give me a bulldog boner. He's a Richard Cranium, but Sale is determined to prove some stuff, to prove these injuries have been kind of fluky, to I mean, he's healthy. If he's healthy, ... he's great.
Yeah.
No, if he's healthy, he is a great pitcher.
He's an ace. He's an ace
pitcher. That's right. I mean, so if Max and Strider, talking about Strider, there's no question that's possible. I mean, I think Charlie Moore's going to be your fourth starter. And even though Charlie is 40, I mean, that's a pretty damn good fourth starter.
Yeah. Hell yeah. At 4. I'm happy with that.
And I'm telling you, I would, if I'm Brian Sicker or Alex Anthopoulos, I'd have called Bryce up and I said, let me tell you something, Bryce. You ran out of gas last year. People calling you a name.
You could say
people are calling you a pussy because you ran out of gas last year. It's time for you to shit or get off the pot and come out here and be one hell of a fifth starter and be the best fifth starter in the fucking game. And you know what? Prove that even though you throw 92 miles an hour, you actually have a penis and you can throw it harder than that. And come to camp ready to kick some ass. Seriously. Yeah. I mean, if you're part of that rotation, why would you not want him to do that? And why would he not want to do that, right?
Yeah, because he wants to prove them wrong that after what went down in the postseason, he wants to come back with a vengeance. And
Andy asked a good question. How do you control a blister, Andy? I mean, he can't control it. How do you control a hammy as he's running out
on it?
Yeah. No, I'm just saying you can't control a ham. What was that? The first game he had a hamstring.
Oh no, tightness.
You can't account for that.
Well, but if Freed does stay healthy because it's a contract year, and sometimes it happens, a lot of times it happens.
Yeah.
Holy crap, he's going to win the Cy Young Award.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy, he's going to have a 250 ERA and win 20 games.
Yeah.
And,
no doubt.
Yeah. And Matt on Twitter says this new. Yeah, Matt. So we started doing this podcast. If this is what you're referring to,
what number is this, Andy?
This is number 7. We're on number 7. So once we get to 10, we're going to get Bill to pay Chipper Jones a ton of money and come on. No, I'm joking. That's not true. But yeah, we started this. This is our 7th episode, and Bill gets to come on and cuss and say anything he wants. And so me and Eddie just
y'all might be shocked if I pop someone in here one day.
That'd be great.
Hey. You just tell me and I'll send them a link. I'll just email them a link. You just give me well, shoot, you got it. So go ahead. Send it all to them. Yeah. But so we've been doing this for we've been going at it about 2 months now. So yeah, tell your friends, tell your family. Share this. Go to our YouTube page. We need it. We need all the subscribers.
Like it and share it.
Well, guys, we've been going at this for a while. This is fun. Let's see. What is here we go. So he says this is the rated R version of it. Exactly. It's actually probably rated X. I don't know.
That's the name, Matt. Look at the name of the podcast.
Fuck yes, Matt. It's the chance. All they did is do the show, so I'd come on here and say fuck.
Damn it.
But yeah, guys, we appreciate you all watching. And like Matt was saying,
Thank you,
this is a new thing. We are enjoying this. So like I said, if you could do us a favor, go to our YouTube page, which is youtube.com/@ShanksUnleashedPOD. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. We need it. Make sure you're listening to the Bill Shanks Show every day from 3 to 7 on the superstations.com.
Best show on the radio.
It is by far the best show on the radio.
He talks Georgia sports.
Thank y'all, guys, and also go to my Twitter account @BillShanks. I've got an article on the Belichick that you can read from the Savannah Morning News as well.
So guys, we appreciate it. Make sure you're following Bill @BillShanks. You can also follow @BillShanks Show. Follow Mr. Eddie. Eddie, what is your Twitter name?
Holy shit, I'm old.
At Eddie Mattingly.
And as you can see, I am at Andy Stowe. So follow us. Tell your friends. We appreciate everybody watching. Listen to Bill tomorrow at 3 o'clock. He will tell us maybe the Falcons have a new coach. Maybe Alabama has a new coach. We don't know.
Yeah, we may have that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.